It's not about big contracts or endorsements. It's not about signing bonuses or incentives. It's about a pure love of the sport. It's about high school football, and today, it's about the championship. Fulton Middleton has been here 6 times, but never brought home the trophy. The same is true of George Sahadi's Lancers, but there can be only one champion. The Class Double D game is next. The Pontiac Silverdome, where in late November dreams are realized or shattered, where schools and community pride is more evident than ever before, where champions are crowned, and in some cases, where history is made. Today, history will be made in this Class Double D championship game between the Pirates of Fulton Middleton and the Lancers of Bishop Gallagher. How you doing, everybody? Glad you're back with us here on Fox Sports Detroit for another full slate of high school championship action for you. Matt Shepard, along with former Michigan Rose Bowl quarterback John Wangler. Folks, it is not as much a surprise that Bishop Gallagher is here. It's the fact that they exist at all.
3 months ago, we thought we'd be lucky to win a ball game. We started in August, this conditioning, we had about 17 ball players. And you couldn't feel a team with 17 because we didn't have a guard, we didn't have a tight end, we didn't have a linebacker. So we had to do some maneuver around in using our imagination. Then the ball players, when I told them one day, hey, we might not have a football team, they got really concerned. And they started getting on the phone, calling their friends, and trying to get people out for the team.
It is an amazing story, John. You know George Sahadi. You guys go way back. He's a buddy of yours. You also know that he gets some pretty talented players every once in a while. Marcus Curry is one of the better ones he's had in a long time.
Marcus Curry is the man. He set records for Bishop Gallagher, 11 touchdown passes, and you know what? They're going to get a lot of double teams on Marcus, but they're going to keep throwing him the football.
That's the way you keep the defense off balance. He had 2 touchdowns in the semifinal win a week ago. Meanwhile, when you look at Fulton Middleton, a team that has been here before and a team that bases its total package on its offense. Over 32 points a game. Great quarterback, but a double-headed monster at the tailback position.
Matt Wetmore is the quarterback. He's the guts and glue of that offense. He runs that option attack to perfection. They got 2,000-yard backs in the backfield. Look for those guys to run that football.
Yeah, Jesse Van Etten ran it well last week. 117 yards on the ground and a touchdown in the semifinal knockout. Our third member of our broadcast crew today, Jamie Samuelson. He's down on the sidelines. Jamie?
Matt, thank you. I'm here with the coach, Joe D'Angelo, a member of the 200 Win Club at Detroit Country Day. And Coach, coaching a big thing when you get here, but also coaching by the players. And you think that Matt Wetmore's done a great job coaching for Fulton.
Yes, Jamie, to get here, you need talent and leadership. And Fulton's leadership is centered around their quarterback, Matt Wetmore. Matt came in over the winter all the time, working hard in the morning, learning this new offense. And all that work, that hard work and dedication is what brought him here for this championship game.
Well, we'll see how he leads Fulton in the first half. We'll watch it together, and we'll watch it with you. Back up to Matt Shepard.
Guys, we look forward to your insight throughout this morning's telecast. Someone will wear a crown for the first time in their school's history. It's Bishop Gallagher and Fulton Middleton when we come back on Fox Sports Detroit. Back at the Pontiac Silverdome for the Class Double D championship game between Bishop Gallagher and Fulton Middleton. George Sahadi, you see how long he's been doing this, 26 years, 35 years overall as a head football coach at the high school level. And what he has done with his program this year is simply amazing. You know, 4 of the past 5 seasons prior to this year have been losing seasons for the Lancers. Sahadi feels he's got a very special group of kids. To get to the finals, they have beaten some pretty quality clubs and beaten them pretty decisively. They beat Genesee in the pre-regional 47-18, then scored 39 and 42 in the regional and semifinal. Ed Lark for Fulton, just his 3rd year, 23 and 8, has been at this job for 13 seasons. He has turned around programs left and right. Everywhere he has gone, he has been successful. Wyoming Lee, his alma mater, and then at Wayland as well. You see the road to the finals in which, on how these teams got here. We talked about Bishop Gallagher and their impressive wins, including over Lawrence, a team who had won it all a year ago And you look at Fulton Middleton and the number of points that these guys put up. Very, very impressive. 47, 39, and 42. So they can put some points on the board. Harper Woods, Bishop Gallagher, just 220 students there, a lot smaller than when you used to play them when you were at Royal Oak Shrine.
When I played back 100 years ago, Matt, they were a big Class B school, and Coach Shahady did a great job back in the 70s, and he's still around leading them to championships now.
They have had some impressive players come out of there. Washawn Tate, to name one, the former All-American at the University of Toledo. Fulton Middleton, about the same size school, making their first ever trip in the finals, 6th ever in the playoffs. But of course, none of these guys have been here, John, so that really doesn't matter a whole lot, does it?
No, not really. Both teams are going to realize their dream today of winning that first state championship.
The Lancers won the toss and deferred, allowing Fulton Middleton to receive the kick. And the Pirates will send back Justin Gaskill and Josh Towsley deep to receive. 4 games on tap for you here on Fox Sports Detroit. Next broadcast coming at 1 o'clock. We are just underway in the Double D Championship tilt. A little huddle there, a little trickery. Who's got that rock? Glad the Lancers could sniff it out, John, because I sure didn't know where it was.
Well, had us fooling up here in the booth, man.
Justin Gaskill, a return of 4. Wow, how do you like this? This is a good way to start your morning, folks.
Well, really, you better have a couple cups of coffee to figure this one out. That's the first time I've seen a huddle there at the 5-yard line.
A little quick handoff inside. The Lancers sniffed it out right away. I give them a lot of credit.
They weren't fooled at all.
Pirates offense, very, very dangerous. Again, as we said, averaging better than 32 points a game to give to Gaskill. We will set that offense, led by Matt Wetmore. Over 900 yards in the season, just 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, but works very hard, and it's very smart. Has a lot of checkoffs at the line of scrimmage.
He's really the coach on the field. He's got that option attack. He studied it, as we mentioned, in the pregame, and he's got that down to perfection.
Sure does, and he was able to do that in the offseason when he went with Ed Lark to Alabama to work on that option camp in Alabama to perfect it. We'll keep it, and the pitch back. Big stick by the Lancers. Wow, the game tackling on Gaskill, who was fortunate to pick up a few.
That time Wetmore came down and pitched on the outside linebacker, and Bishop Gallagher was not fooled at all. Marcus Curry came up and made a big stop, and they flattened him there.
Steve Slokey, the Lancers quarterback, in on the tackle as well. Bring up 3rd down and 2 for the Pirates on their opening drive. Again, the pitch back, and again, the Lancers snuff it out. Drake Wilkins up from his strong safety position to drop him, and the Pirates will be forced to punt it away.
Bishop Gallagher doing an excellent job manning their assignments. That time they took the fullback, they came out, they had a guy on the fullback, on the pitchback, and on the tackle. Great play. Curry
and Clark standing inside Pirate territory for the punt. They stand around the 45-yard line. Quentin Canfield will kick it away. A low line drive, but it's over their heads. Gallagher retreats. They're going to pick it up. Run away. Dangerous move there, John.
Very dangerous decision, but it shows the kind of confidence that Marcus Curry has. He went all the way back and fielded that punt, and he felt he could make something out of that play. Fortunately for Bishop Gallagher, nothing bad happened, and they're going to start with the ball in the 30.
Jacob Lloyd and Joe Yeager in on the tackle, a 56-yard punt. Steve Slokey is the guy in charge for George Sahady's Lancers. Over 1,400 yards through the air, 19 touchdowns and 9 picks. Not a bad ratio. Looked like Wilkins tripped there, shy of the line of scrimmage.
Well, sometimes it's going to take these kids a little adjustment period to get on this artificial turf. That time it looks like he just caught himself on a seam and fell down in the backfield.
The Lancers offensive line averaging 222 pounds, anchored by the senior center, Scott Koch. He is the only senior member of that offensive line. Talented group of skilled receivers led by Marcus Curry. Drake Wilkins was the starting tailback, was injured, replaced by Darnell Hood, who we will call his name an awful lot this afternoon. But Wilkins was able to win the job back. And our first stoppage of play by the referee.
Okay, back up, Blue, back up, Blue, back up. Dead ball, encroachment, defense.
That right defensive tackle jumped a little anxious there. It was a trap play, and they tried to get off the ball and anticipate that count.
2nd down and 8 for Bishop Gallagher on their first drive of the morning. Slokey will throw. Left side. Good job by the right defensive end. Clinton Canfield, 6'3", 210-pound senior. Very difficult to throw over that guy because of the long arms. The linebackers led by Joe Yeager. And your defensive backfield by Trent Meyer and James Natinka. Natinka had 5 picks during the regular season. 3rd down and 8 for Bishop Gallagher. Ball resting on their own 32-yard line. Triple wide receiver set. Slokey checking off. Flag on the play. He goes deep. He's got Curry alone. Past the defensive back, but Slokey overthrew him. Let's see what the referee called.
I think there's a problem with that formation there, Matt. They had the 2 wideouts split. I think there's going to be too many men in the backfield.
6 on the line. Procedure. Offense, 6 on the line.
It's hard to tell from that shot there, but they had twins to the right, and there was too many people in the backfield.
So that'll bring up a 4th and 8 situation, and Slokey will stay in to punt. Nick Bishop and Joe Yeager are deep, standing around their 25-yard line for the punt. Middleton Fulton calls a timeout, their first of the ball game. Ed Lark wants to talk things over with his special teams. They have played a vital role so far in the championship series on Friday. We'll see what they can do when they come back on Fox Sports Detroit. High school football on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Detroit Free Press. For top coverage of preps and professional sports, turn to the pages of one of the nation's top sports sections. And by Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Scholar Athlete Award. Bishop Gallagher punting it away on 4th and 8. Slokey with a line drive kick, fielded inside the 35 on the run by Yeager. Turns it up to the 43-yard line. Best field goal position, or best offensive position, I should say, for the Pirates so far today. A return of 11, and that's where Matt Wetmore and company try to get things going. First carry of the ball game. Scott Koch brought him down. That offensive line for Fulton Middleton, 227 pounds is the average. Anchored on the right side by Jay Childers. Special skill players, Gaskell and Van Etten, we talked about the yards that they pick up. James Natinka is the leading receiver. Averages better than 11 yards per catch. 2nd down and 7. And another flag. So unlike yesterday, where we rarely saw laundry being thrown, today already 3 quick penalties.
A lot of flags today. It could be a lot of anxiety out there.
Like Aaron Gray's encroachment. 2nd time that's happened already this morning. 8:12 left to go in this first quarter of play. Glad you're along with us on Fox Sports Detroit. Game 1 of 4 games coming your way. Championship week continues here on Fox Sports Detroit. Justin Gaskell with the carry and a 1st down. Melvin Moss in on the tackle there. The linebackers, Scott Koch, had a 60-yard interception return for a touchdown in the semis, and a defensive backfield for Bishop Gallagher that boasts 17 interceptions, including 5 by Marcus Curry. 1st and 10 for the Pirates. Quick handoff to Gaskell, who has been the workhorse early in this ball game. A pickup of 5. Cedric Louis in on the game tackle.
Looks like they're going to that inside rush a little more. They're trying to give the ball to the fullback. They didn't have a lot of success that first drive going outside. They're going to try to work the middle of the Gallagher defense.
Gaskell averaging better than 5 yards per touch during the season. This is a rushing team that averages better than 280 per game. Double wide out set, top of your screen. Van Etten, close to another 1st down. Again, Melvin Moss in on the tackle. Remember this, folks, Bishop Gallagher has 5 guys who have never even played the game of football. They all start for George Sahady, including guys on that defensive line.
Well, man, look at the difference in the amount of personnel on both sidelines, and a lot of those Bishop Gallagher players are going both ways. So you could see their game plan is trying to wear them down this first half and see if it pays dividends in the second half.
Paying dividends on this drive. Now looking at a 3rd and short. 4-down territory here, and another flag. Somebody might have jumped.
Okay, we huddle, guys. We huddle. Yeah, your guard is here. Offense. Yeah. Offense, jump.
Tough penalty when it's 3rd and 1, John.
Right.
Like Jacob Lloyd got a little antsy. The right guard.
When you run that kind of offense, those guys, you know, all of it is about blocking angles and getting off the ball first, and they're definitely trying to get to their position first, and right now everyone's just a little jumpy.
3rd down at 6. You wonder if you'll see Wetmore put it up for the first time here this morning. Stay with the option. On the ground, the lead back. Justin Gaskell again.
They're reading the movement on there of the defensive tackle. When he widens, they give it to that fullback.
Got those 5 yards right back. So now a 4th and 1, and we figured it would be 4-down territory there anyway.
Right.
Wetmore immediately signals 1st down, but it's the guys in the striped shirts who have the final say. Cedric Louis trying to hold them back.
It's all going to depend on the spot.
Sure looks like you got it from here, John.
Yeah, it looks like they're giving it to him.
So another 1st down for the Pirates, and their offense is starting to click a little bit more for Ed Lark. Flag and a timeout at the same time.
Looked like he got that timeout in before the flag.
Timeout before the flag.
Heard you, John.
Timeout.
Referees heard you. Ed Lark talked things over with Matt Wetmore.
Okay, here you go. Let's run our bone left, 1358. Bone left, 1358. Now listen, that free safety should be in the middle of the field, so you should be all right with that. Okay? Yeah, 13, but it's bone left. Okay, get that motion going and all that stuff. Hey, sustain up front. They've eagled every time, correct?
We hit him, we got him back here for a while, so he's still moving.
Well, we got to give him forward progress. We got to give him an opportunity to break loose. If he doesn't break loose, then we got to give him
that's
forward
right.
progress.
But I thought that
We're going to give him forward progress both sides.
Yeah.
George Sahady telling them, listen, you know, they're moving a little early. And Ed Lark talking about what they're going to do. Let's see what George Sahady had some complaints about.
I think George wants a better spot on that, Matt. forward progress.
Looked like Gaskell got just past that 35-yard line. Pirates will re-huddle already. 3:46 on this drive. They have used 6 plays to go 22 yards and picked up 3 first downs.
Well, as you heard earlier, it looks like they're going to try to come out of their wishbone formation. I think they're going to throw some type of pass, it sounded like, because they're trying to freeze the free safety in the middle of the field.
That would be their first of the morning. Jason Akers into the ballgame. Option far side. And Wetmore that time kept it himself. Marcus Curry in on the tackle, but not before Wetmore picked up 6.
That was kind of interesting play, Matt. They had a strong formation to the wide side of the field. He faked to the wide side, then came back to the short side, really a reverse pivot, and picked up some decent yardage.
Anytime you can do first and get a 6-yard pickup, really helps your offense out for the second and third. You hate to be put in second and third and long situations, especially if they're Pirates. The Lancers are used to throwing the ball.
You'll take 2nd and 4 all day long with that offense.
Big gainer that time by Van Etten. Pickup of 8. Tony Collins in on the stop.
That's just a counter trap inside, and they're just really working the middle of the Bishop Gallagher defense. They're starting to really pound it out now.
So important for the guards to be able to move along that line of scrimmage and block downfield. They got to get out in front of that back. Motion. Van Etten busts into the clear, but is dropped at the 10. Lawrence Clark with a touchdown-saving tackle there. Pirates offense looks good, John.
They really do. Just a reverse pivot. That time they trapped. They blew a hole between the guard and center. And anytime you got your little safety trying to come up and make those kind of tackles, it's going to be a problem.
Good tackle, squared the shoulders and dropped him at the 10. But it's 1st and 10 on that 10-yard line. Van Etten fighting his way down closer toward the 5. Aaron Gray's in on the tackle, one of the guys who has never played football until this season.
Well, we knew they liked to run the option, and it took them about 6 games to get this thing moving, this offense clicking, but hey, they're averaging 32 points a game, so obviously they found the key.
Now 2nd and goal from the 7. You see how much time they have chewed up, and they've kept it all on the ground. Gaskell met at the line of scrimmage and dropped for little or no gain at all. You wonder if they go outside here, John. I mean, it seems like they're staying between the tackles.
Well, you know, they tried that first drive, Matt. They tried to go outside, and Gallagher did a nice job coming up and stopping them on with their assignments, and now they've worked the middle here. This drive has been a tremendous drive.
Watch him go to the right side. That's where the biggest beef is, on that right side of the offensive line. Fumble, still loose. Somebody's got to just pounce on it, and Gallagher does. Aaron Gray's on the fumble recovery. And Gallagher gets the first big break of the ballgame.
Well, that was the break they needed.
One of the few turnovers for the Pirates this season. We'll see what Gallagher can do with it when we come back. Scoreless late in the first. Troubles for the Pirates of Fulton Middleton.
Well, that time, Matt, they tried to run that counter option, and Gallagher was coming with a corner blitz off of a corner with Marcus Curry, and his back was turned to a Wetmore's back, and he had no chance. He was in his face right away, and that's always the problem with option football is sometimes you can create big plays for the defense if that pitch isn't right where it should be.
Yeah, really tough to go 13 plays, 6.5 minutes, and come up empty when you're inside your opponent's 10-yard line. So the first break goes to Bishop Gallagher. See if they can capitalize. Loki with a rollout pass. He'll keep it. And he's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Clinton Canfield again on the pursuit and the tackle.
Well, that time they tried to attack the corner there, and they ran off the wide receiver. That time Slokey really had no opportunity to go downfield with the football.
See the numbers on this kid. His father played for Bishop Gallagher back in 1968. He's now watching his son, who set a team record for 19 touchdown passes in a year. Second and 11. Ground attack isn't working for the Lancers either. Tony Collins, his first carry, gets nothing.
Well, it's real evident even up here, just the size difference of Bishop Gallagher compared to the Fulton. It's tough. It's going to be tough for them to run inside. They're going to have to loosen it up and go to their man, Marcus Curry, and throwing the football.
You wonder if Gallagher may have a speed advantage and if they might try to start attacking that corner. If they can get around that corner, they might be able to be a little bit more successful. But Fulton has some big defensive ends, physical defensive ends, who will pin their ears back on this 3rd and 11 passing situation. They will blitz too. Watch out. Loki gets away. More pursuit and is dragged down from behind. Joe Yeager was all over that. Tough to stop a kid who's a state championship wrestler like Joe Yeager.
Well, you called that, man. You can see Joe Yeager was really cheating in the gap there, and he came out, put a lot of pressure. And hey, I'll tell you, those guys are tough to contain. And when you're under that kind of duress, it's tough to throw the football.
He's the guy who was blitzing. He fought through 3 would-be blockers and then made the shoestring tackle, forcing a punting situation for Bishop Gallagher. Slokey puts it away. And a Lancer bounce. Generous bounce. Inside the 25-yard line. Nicely done by the special teams of Bishop Gallagher. Unable to take advantage of the first turnover, but pinning the Pirates back near their own 20-yard line. Another long drive ahead of Ed Lark's ball club.
Well, and you mentioned that was a very big key stand there for the Pirates coming off that sudden change turnover. The tempo had changed, and they got it right back with this big defensive stop.
Last play of the first quarter coming your way here. He will carry 2, maybe 3 defenders a couple of yards. Cedric Louis in on the tackle, and that'll do it for the first 12 minutes of play. We're scoreless. A defensive battle at the Dome. Scoreless in the Class Double D final as we start the second quarter of play. Tune in every night for Fox Sports News Primetime. All the scores, all the highlights, and all the breaking sports stories covering your home teams 7 nights a week. We are there. Fox Sports News Primetime. Tonight, after the games on Fox Sports Detroit. Pirates on a 2nd down and 8. Tough toss. Almost a heck of a grab by Joe Yeager. Tough throw by Wetmore, rolling to his left and throwing across his body through a rope.
They don't come any tougher than that. That time they flushed him from the pocket. Wetmore made a great athletic play trying to throw a deep outcut to the left. And almost a great pass reception there by Yeager, but real tough throw, and that would have been an unbelievable catch.
Aaron Graves and Calvin House in hot pursuit. Now a 3rd down and 8. Got to be honest with you, John, I didn't expect this type of defensive battle.
Not with those high-scoring offenses.
Nope. Although Bishop Gallagher's defense only gives up 8.5 points per game. A timeout for the Pirates. 2nd time they've used one. Actually, the 3rd time that Ed Lark has been forced to burn one. That could be a factor later on in this ball game, folks. Just underway in the second quarter. Fulton Middleton with a key 3rd and 8 situation so far, John Wengler. Not a whole lot of offense, but I think what stands out is the lack of offense by Gallagher.
Well, -8 yards rushing and no passing yardage for both teams really are surprised, because actually the Pirates have a pretty balanced attack. They've thrown for over 1,100 yards themselves.
See they have been unsuccessful in 3 third-down attempts and now make it 4. They have 3 first downs that came on that long 6.5-minute drive. They came up short because of the turnover, but they weren't staring at any third-down situations there. Here they come up empty. It'll be 4th and 2, and they will be forced to punt it away.
Gallagher's done a nice job every time the Pirates have tried to go outside with the option. They've defensed it, and that's really been a strong point for the defense of Bishop Gallagher.
Speed to burn for the Lancers, standing at their own 35, a line drive. It'll be taken by Lawrence Clark. Actually, Marcus Curry breaks the tackle. Needs some help. He's down the sideline and dragged down from behind by Wetmore. You talk about speed. Marcus Curry, when he gets into the open field, you can just feel people on Gallagher stand slowly to watch and get a better glimpse of what he's going to do.
Well, it was a low-line drive punt, which really makes it tough for them to defend. He broke that first tackle, and once he got down the sideline, he was fortunate for the Pirates that they had some good pursuit because he can really go.
Well, we talked about his talent to open our broadcast. 38-yard punt return. His brother is an outstanding wide receiver for Gary Pinkel and the University of Toledo Rockets. Darnell Hood, the outstanding freshman, is in the backfield. He's got the rock. He's got the corner. He's got a touchdown, but there is a flag on the play. It could be a holding on the part of the Lancers. Boy, is he exciting to watch. A junior Olympian in the 200-meter, but it'll be brought back. Boy, fun to watch it anyway, though.
I'll tell you, Matt, you could just tell. It looked like he was in about second gear, then he turned it on.
6.
Number 12.
Holding. Offense. Repeat the down. Yep.
When he gets the corner, he's gone, John.
Really is. That time, well, it was a great play, but it looks like they caught him there on the corner, taking a little extra liberties with the arms. But I tell you, we'll see more of Darnell Hood.
Stays in the ball game. Weaves his way. Now they got themselves a running attack. A pickup of 5. Darnell Hood, more than close to 1,000 yards during the regular season, John. Had a 15-yard touchdown run in the semifinal win.
Just caught a little glimpse of that explosion there on that one.
Just a freshman, though, and George Sahady, I give him credit. I mean, he stuck with his senior, Drake Wilkins, gave him the opportunity. He's a guy who's been in the program, allows him to start. Wilkins very good about giving way to Darnell Hood at times. Tony Collins with his second carry of the game and a pickup of 6. Clinton Canfield in on the stop there at the 20-yard line.
Nice little trap inside, similar to the type of offensive plays that have been working for the Pirates. Just a real quick hitter, picked up 6 yards.
You seen anything that the Lancers are doing differently than they've done earlier in the ball game to be more successful?
It seems like they're spreading out a little bit more now, Matt. They're going both to inside and outside and trying to throw the football.
They have to throw it here on a 3rd down and 8. Watch Curry, he is near side. They will roll the other way. Fires it toward the end zone and batted down by a solid defensive play. Trent Meyer in on the stop.
Well, at that time they tried to run a little corner route there, and actually for Clark, he rolled a lot of time. He was covered there. He probably shouldn't have thrown the football. And actually, the offensive player there, Clark, made a great defensive play to stop that interception. He knocked that pass down.
Otherwise, it's Pirate possession with the ball resting right where it is on the 20-yard line. Drake Wilkins back into the ball game. He is the deep back for the Lancers. On a 4th and 8. 7-step drop. Screen pass. Wilkins couldn't get it going.
Well, they had the right call on that time, Matt. They were coming from the corner. There was a blitz to the field. They had a screen play into the sideline. You can see Slokey was under some big duress, but that was the right call against that blitz. Fulton did a nice job recovering and stopped that for a 4th down.
Just a short gain and went to the short side of the field. It was the right call. If they're going to the wide side, that ball gets batted down. Either way, it is turned over And the Pirates will take over on downs. They will continue to stuff it up the middle, and another flag late on the play. Justin Gaskell dropped after picking up 1 or 2.
Probably a face mask.
That's a big one. They will march 15 yards in favor of the Pirates. Ed Lark.
Defense. First down.
His ball club has been able to get to this point with impressive wins offensively and defensively. And usually they are very well disciplined, although today they have been flagged twice. Gallagher 3 times. Again, Wetmore had a man breaking through Clinton Canfield. Looked like he had gotten just past the linebackers, but Wetmore couldn't find him.
That was a nice play. Actually, he was pretty much wide open. He just floated the ball a little bit. It was a little option pass to the field, and they ran him right down the slot. And Gallagher, he was wide open for a minute. Ball wasn't put there, but the safety took a shot.
So now 2nd down and 10. At least the Pirates are trying to keep the Lancers off balance to a certain extent. They throw on 1st down. Inside handoff. Van Etten muscles his way toward the 40-yard line.
Well, the Pirates are starting to spread it out a little more with different formations. They had twins to the field that time, and they just tried to spread it out, and then they came in with that quick hitter up the middle, and Bishop Gallagher seems to be tightening down a little bit more inside.
What a story Jesse Van Etten is. Here's a guy in the first 4 games really had a hard time holding on to the ball. Actually went to Coach Lark and said, "Coach, give me one more chance." And he responds the next week with a 3-touchdown effort against Bath. Since then, he has taken off 1,167 yards during the regular season and 24 touchdowns. Use an effort like that on 3rd and 5. Another flag. Somebody must have jumped on the offensive side of the ball.
Guard moving. Got 2 guys moving. Wait.
Well, that right guard was a little anxious.
Now 3rd and 10 after wiping out Van Etten's +5 with 8:04 left to go in the first half of play. Lancers shifting into different gaps on the defensive line. Wetmore rolling near side. A lot of pressure there. Cedric Louis pressuring Wetmore. Had him throw it before he wanted to.
Bishop Gallagher's done a nice job. They just put a lot of pressure, nothing fancy. They're sitting in a 3-deep defense, and they're just coming hard from the corners, and they're really doing a good job. And really, the Pirates have gotten away from their running game.
Yeah, they are winning the line of scrimmage, at least on that series. Kind of surprising because the Pirates had such a successful drive the drive before. This time they get stymied early.
They may be getting a little anxious, Matt. They were frustrated they didn't score that first time down on that drive.
Lawrence Clark and Marcus Curry deep to receive. The punt almost blocked. Clark will field this one. Looking for a sideline wedge. Nice return. And Gallagher will have solid field position. The problem has been, though, the Lancers' inability to move the football.
Pirates very fortunate this ball wasn't blocked. They were coming in off the corner, and if he dives at a spot instead of going at his leg, I think he would have got that football.
Good pressure, though, by Eric Damford. So the ball rests at the 44-yard line of Bishop Gallagher. 7:38 left to go in the first half. We're scoreless here in the Class AA championship game. Drake Wilkins carrying the load right side and a pickup of 3. Jacob Lloyd in on the tackle there. The 6'2", 225-pound senior from his left defensive end position. Lancers playing in their first title game since 1992. They have never won a state crown. Got to put some points on the board to do it, though. Out of a split backfield. Wilkins again finds a little bit of a seam. Bursts his way to the first down yard marker and is upset because he feels he could have had more.
Real nice dive right there off a reverse pivot. That time Wilkins popped that seam, and you can see he really wishes he'd have kept his feet because he had a huge hole and just stumbled there coming out of the crease.
A great block by Cedric Louis and Melvin Moss on the right side of that offensive line. Moss, who used to be a tight end and was forced to move to tackle. Sam Martinisi then forced to be the tight end and is also the backup quarterback. The starting quarterback, Slokey, gets the first down, and they'll move the chains for him. Gallagher in on the tackle again.
There's not too many that he's not in, is there, Matt?
No, there isn't. I mean, this guy's all over the field. And they can change him. They put him on the right end. Sometimes they move him to the left end. He is their pressure. Defensive line. Good. The speed around the end. And inside the 35.
That time Curry did a nice job. It looked like he could have got called for a hold there, but he backed off at the right time and able Hood to get around him.
Hood will get a breather now as Wilkins checks in.
Doesn't take much for Hood. You give him a little crease and he's through it.
Good job by the wide receivers. Curry to get down there and put a body in front of the defensive back. Wilkins with an inside handoff. And a gain of 4. Drake Wilkins, very fundamentally sound, and he should be. His father is the head coach at Detroit Southeastern. So born into a football family. Second down and 7 for he and his Lancers offensive teammates. Approaching the 5-minute mark of this first half of play. Hood squirts through a couple of would-be tacklers. Close to another first down. Jason Akers in on the stop.
Well, and Gallagher's really starting to dominate that line of scrimmage. You know, even though they're smaller, they're hitting the holes quicker. And like we said, it doesn't take much with Wilkins and Hood back there to pop a crease. They're giving them just enough time, and they're squirting through them.
Great vision by the freshman. Gallagher fighting through a Cedric Louis block. Sheds that, and then able to make the stop. Quarterback sneak.
That might have been a mistake, a broken play. I think that time they snapped it a little quick, and the quarterback Slokey, I think, was bright enough to hang on to it and just try to take what they could give him there. Now, maybe that was a design play. It looks like they're reading the coverage. When they knock down that defense and there's a crease between the guard and center, it looks like Slokey has the option just to go ahead and automatic and take that play.
It was the right play. He got the first down. Wood trying to find the end. A couple of roadblocks. Wow, the Pirates defense is very aggressive. Natinka and Gallagher in on the stop.
Well, he's got to set that play up. He's got to set up the defenders. And that time, with that penetration, it's very difficult. He just had to take what he could get, try to get to the sideline, and come back and line up for another day.
Good pursuit by the Pirate defense. They're picking out Gallagher and trying to run away from him, but his pursuit cross field is so solid. You see the stat there. -8 on the ground in the first quarter of play. 44 yards in the second quarter. And the first reception made by Clark.
Real nice play by Slokey. Just a two-step drop and a quick stop route by Clark. They're giving him some cushion on the outside, and I think Bishop Gallagher can use their speed. Did a real nice job just delivering the football. He faked the defensive end up to get his hands down, and Clark made an excellent reception there on the sideline.
Good pump fake by Slokey because Canfield stands 6'3", and when he's jumping up, it makes it very difficult to get it through his hands. Good enough for a pickup of about 4. 3rd and 6. Looking toward Curry. He's got him across the middle. Touchdown.
Just like you draw it up, man.
Little square in route. Bird dogged him the whole way. Able to look off the safety. Great touchdown throw from Steve Slokey, his 20th of the season. Curry's 12th touchdown catch.
Slokey does a great job. Just a straight drop back. He looks down and frees the safety. Is a post cut there by Curry. He beats his man to the inside. Does a great job keeping his body between him and the defender. Excellent football play.
Slokey in for the extra point. Blocked. But with the big fellows in that Pirates defensive line, you figured you're going to have to get it up quickly. Jesse Van Etten able to get a big paw on it to block it. But the Gallagher Lancers score first. They lead at 6-0. An 18-yard touchdown pass from Steve Slokey to Marcus Curry. Gets Bishop Gallagher on the board. They lead at 6-0 on the next edition of Red Wings Weekly. Hear about the new book by a local author titled A Wing and a Prayer, and get an update on the injury rehab of center Brent Gilchrist. That, highlights, and more on Red Wings Weekly, hosted by John Keating at a special time of 4:30 on Fox Sports Detroit today. John Keating, a solid job on that program. Here's your Bishop Gallagher drive. 10 plays, 56 yards, 4.5 minutes, and Curry on the receiving end of that 18-yard touchdown strike from Steve Slokey.
They did an excellent job mixing it up all the way down that drive. They're starting to really keep the defense of the Pirates off balance, and that's what they need to do because they're a lot bigger over there on the other side of the ball.
You're not seeing that as a former quarterback now, right? Because I know you like to put the ball up.
You got to take what the defense gives you.
Absolutely. Anfield on the return for Fulton Middleton up past the 25-yard line. And they will get a chance at the equalizer with 3:04 left to go in the first half. Talked about the speed of number 6. Gets down there quickly. Gets 4 guys blocking him, able to shed a couple of blocks and still make the tackle.
Never off the field.
Nice player. Now he will turn around and play defense. Remember this, folks, he's just a junior. Watch for his name again next season. Van Etten past the 30, so the Pirates keep it on the ground and a pickup of 5.
Well, that's what they did, so successfully that first quarter, Matt. They kind of got away from it, so it'll be interesting to see, especially as the clock starts to wind down here in the first half. If they're going to keep it on the ground and try to put it in the air and get a score here before halftime.
Inside handoff. Gaskell. Maybe give credit to Ed Lark to a certain extent. He realizes the strength of his ball club, and he's sticking with it.
Well, the other thing you mentioned earlier is, they've used up all their timeouts. And, in a situation like this, you always want to have them there for those last 2 minutes. And obviously, they will have to throw the football to stop the clock and keep getting first downs.
Well, Bishop Gallagher has all 3 timeouts of theirs remaining, so they will have an opportunity to stop it if the Pirates come up short. Although Van Etten appears to have the first down there on a 3rd and short. Melvin Moss in on the tackle for the Lancers. And they'll move the chains. Plenty of patience for Wetmore, a senior and used to this type of situation. Not great in any one area, John, but he does everything well. That's what Ed Clark likes about him.
Real solid high school quarterback. You can tell he's got a good feel and command of that offense.
They'll put it up down the left side. Great job by Curry to knock it away. So he's done it offensively, defensively, and on special teams.
That time they just ran a fake option to the field, and Wetmore tried to come back and hit the split end going down the sidelines. He didn't give it enough air. It allowed Curry to make a great play, but if he'd have given him a chance to run under the football, he may have been able to get a touchdown.
Curry only stands 6 feet. Canfield 6'3".
I think his vertical makes up for that, Matt.
More pressure on Wetmore. Tosses it away. That helps Bishop Gallagher. 2 straight incompletions, stopping the clock. They still have 3 timeouts remaining. A little more than a buck and a half left to go in this first half of play.
Gallagher's defense really doesn't look as impressive physically on the field, but they're really a swarming bunch. And, you know, you mentioned they give up 8 points a game, but they're very, very opportunistic, and they just make big plays.
Now on a key 3rd and 10 for the Pirate offense. Jason Akers has checked into the ball game for Justin Gaskell. Van Etten with the carry. Minimal pickup. Give him 4. And a timeout for Bishop Gallagher.
Jesse Van Etten, the ball carrier for the Pirates.
Good clock management by the Lancers and George Sahady.
Exactly. They're going to try and get a shot here in the second half to put some more points up on the board. First half.
Watch your fake. You gotta watch your fake, Paul. They gotta watch your fake. Go for his toe, though. Watch the fake here. Watch the fake.
Now let's see what Ed Lark wants to do on this special teams play. Sahady worried about the fake. Will Lark even think about it? He's signaling for the punt team, so he's going to rely on Clinton Canfield, and hopefully, if you're a Pirate fan, Canfield can do what he does best, and that's get some height under it. He averages 41 yards per punt. He could use that and then some in this situation.
Well, you remember that last punt, Matt? Gallagher almost got a piece of that punt, especially when you got a guy like Curry back there. I don't think you want to give him an opportunity again to take that ball back and kick one of those line drive punts. So he may want to just play it safe here.
Now, a lot of teams only put 1 guy back. With Bishop Gallagher, it's a double threat with Clark and Curry. So maybe it makes it a lot more difficult to punt it away from a guy.
Right. And both those guys can cover the whole field, and they switch them up both sides.
And both have speed to burn. 2 of the quicker players, along with Darnell Hood, on that Bishop Gallagher club. 1:24 left to go in this first half of play. Last time the Lancers held the ball, ended up in an 18-yard touchdown pass from Slokey to Curry. Canfield gets it away. Good kick. Over the head of Curry. Bounces at the 8. Look out! Needs a block. Well, he is excitement with an exclamation point.
You don't have to give him much. That time, a tremendous punt drove him way back.
52-yard punt.
I mean, he caught that on the 5-yard line. And look, at one block, he finds that crease, and once he gets up in there, he sets up his blockers very well. He just ran out of space there on the sideline, but they would do best to kick away from Marcus Curry.
They better watch him on this play. In the semis against defending champion Lawrence, he had 2 long touchdown passes of 55 and 42 yards. Here he takes the out. He should get out of bounds if he can, and he does. Boy, smart move by the junior.
That was a great move. Just a little roll to the field that time, and Curry's doing a nice outcut. Comes out of his break very well. The ball's delivered right where it should be. Doesn't have to break spread. Now watch his move here. Watch him cut, fake a guy out, step back. Those are big-time moves right there.
Very composed. When he gets in that open field, you talked about it, John, he's got 4.4 speed. Slokey has quietly had a solid day so far. Don't look at the yardage. The completions and his decisions are key. Now he'll throw it again. Left side to Clark. Good idea because they were double teaming Curry far side. That one falls incomplete. Then he'll bring up 3rd and short.
Well, they got to give the kid a chance to catch his breath. I'll tell you, after chasing that punt down, making that big defensive play, he has been all over the field. That time there's a post cut. They had it well covered, though. Defense for Fulton did a nice job.
You don't lose anything on either side of the field for the Lancers. We talk about Curry's speed. Clark runs a 4.40 as well. Pitch back to Hood. Good cutback for a first down. Good decision by the freshman. A lot of people would have strung it out a little bit more and not been able to get to the corner.
Excellent decision. You may want to take a look at Marcus Curry throwing his crackback block. You talk about a guy going in there and sticking his nose in there.
There it is there.
Here we go.
On Gallagher.
On Gallagher, he took him right at the numbers.
He climbed the ladder to go shoulder pad to chest to spring Hood for the first down.
And you talk about Deion Sanders or Charles Woodson all over the field on both sides of the ball. This Curry is something special.
Talk about a complete ball player. He's got a brother at U of M who plays, Julius, a redshirt freshman. And again, his brother Ray at Toledo is one of the best offensive weapons for that Rocket offense. He will no doubt play at the next level too.
We've got another year to watch him here in high school.
That's right. As long as George Sahady can get more volunteers to come out for the team.
Stop and block backside. We're going to be a shotgun. 98? 98. You got to line up on that. Gun out. Block.
What a great rapport George Sahady has with his football team, his players. He loves them. He talks about molding them, not necessarily into football players, but into guys who are going to do something productive for the rest of their lives.
He really has done a great job. I mean, ever since I've known him, just a fantastic leader and just a great coach.
He's got a story or two to tell once in a while, doesn't he?
He can spin a tale.
He needs to spin some more yardage to try and pick up another scoring drive here. His Lancers are on top 6-0. 47 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Martinezzi broke free, but Slokey couldn't find him. That would have been quarterback to quarterback. Martinezzi will be the quarterback of this Lancers ball club next year, unless Sahady can find somebody else. He feels Martinezzi has done such a great job adapting to the tight end position that he would like to see him come back next year and catch footballs again.
That time was the first time we saw Bishop Gallagher go into the shotgun offense. We may see more of that here in the second half.
Second down and long. That play used up just 7 seconds. Slokey rolls to the far side of the field. He's got Curry behind the defense. Breaks the tackle and he's in for his second touchdown of the morning.
The old hook and ladder back, out and up.
45 yards. So in the semis, he burned Lawrence twice, and today he has already been a thorn in Fulton's side.
Well, Bishop Gallagher did a great job setting this one up. Just a roll to the field. They've been hitting Curry on outcuts all day long. He took him out in it, and then he took an right up the field, out and up, and got right behind the defender. Watch him on this move to the outside. He faked the out route, ran right up the field, and ran by the whole Pirate defense.
Fair. That is not fair. A 185-pound flanker who runs a 4.440 against a 210-pound linebacker. It just isn't fair. 12-0. Lancers on top, and Marcus Curry, you deserve a break, my friend.
Slokey did a real good job. He gave him time to make his cut. He put enough air into the ball so he could run right underneath it. And hey, when you get an isolation as great as number 80 is there, he's tough to stay with Marcus Curry, I'll tell you.
You just can't expect a linebacker to do that. You would hope that a defensive back would be able to do it, but a linebacker is just not right. A linebacker and a tight end, I can see. But a linebacker and a wide receiver, very difficult assignment for the defensive guy. Now Curry is just one touchdown shy of tying a state championship record for touchdowns in a ball game. We saw Ricky Bryan of Farmington Hills Harrison do a lot of special things yesterday. Marcus Curry is making a statement that he's the wide receiver to watch at the prep level next year.
Well, and the impressive thing too, Matt, is he never comes off the field. What he's doing defensively is almost as impressive as what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball.
And we get so caught up in things like touchdown catches, but you brought up the crack block that helped Darnell Hood pick up the first down, things like that. Coaches notice.
He's a complete football player.
They will go for two because of the missed extra point last trip down. Slokey rolling, fires back across the middle, intended for Clark, and broken up there by James Natinka. So the Lancers fail to get the point after each trip down, but the bottom line is they have found the end zone twice.
Well, that time Gallagher again got isolated on Curry. He pushed him right out of the pattern, he made sure it wasn't going to happen again, believe me.
A wrestler's mentality, but effective.
He put him in one of those double grapevines.
Trent Meyer is down for the Pirates on the collision. And the Pirate training staff is taking a look at the defensive back. That would be a big loss.
Well, Matt, these missed extra points may come back and haunt Bishop Gallagher, too. Now they have to at least score twice to beat him, but still, you don't want to go and put yourself in a position where you miss those extra points because they keep adding up, and it really messes up the momentum.
Good to see Trent Meyer up on his feet. I believe he smacked heads with James Natinka. You can see it in your bottom left portion of your screen. Curry was in on it, too. You hate to speculate, but we're just glad he was able to walk off under his own power. This is game one of a 4-game set for you here on Fox Sports Detroit. Coming up at 1 o'clock, the Class AA. Tough to match what Belding and Chesaning did last night, but this one should be a good one, folks. Rockford and Detroit Catholic Central. Tom Mack has won over 200 games in his career as the Shamrocks head coach. It'll be Fred McLeod and John, an old teammate of yours, Stanley Edwards, doing the blow-by-blow here on Fox Sports Detroit.
It'll be a great one.
They did the game last night. I watched that, went home, watched that game. Boy, talk about excitement. You talk about points. You talk about offensive ability, a lot of skill.
Whoever had the ball last was going to win that game.
Yep, Chesaning took it 41-38. Lancers lead it 12-zip. Goes into the end zone. They will bring it back. Those are the high school rules. Once it crosses that goal line, you can't bring it out. So now the Pirates have just 24 ticks left to try and feel good about themselves heading into the break. Matt Wetmore, who has been relatively silent so far here in this first half of play. And remember this, Bishop Gallagher will get the ball to start the third quarter. No timeouts for Fulton. Bennett breaks free. Big gainer, Steve Slokey in on the tackle.
Well, they were going to be content just to run the clock out, but they pick up a couple more like this, they may have to readjust their thinking.
Van Etten with 12 carries and 62 yards so far. Now Gaskell snuffed out at the line of scrimmage. Surprised they're not putting it up here? Or?
Not really, Matt. The way things came out, especially they got no timeouts left, so they're in a tough situation.
Now the situation has ended for the first 24 minutes of play. Bishop Gallagher with 2 touchdown strikes to Marcus Curry is in pretty good shape right now, considering they got a rock-solid defense as well. George Sahady has to feel pretty good about the way his team has performed. Not necessarily in that first quarter, his defense kept them in it there, but in that second quarter, everything came together.
Well, they've really hung in there, and they just got better and better. They started to throw the football, and Curry has really started to heat up.
You want to stick around with us at halftime? We'll recap yesterday's exciting action that you saw here on Fox Sports Detroit. 4 champions crowned. We'll have our first half stats and highlights, and we'll get our expert analysis. John Wengler and Joe D'Angelo on the sidelines with Jamie Samuelson. And speaking of Jamie, he's with Bishop Gallagher's head coach. Jamie.
Coach, some things went against you in the first quarter. You have to be happy with the way they responded in the second.
Well, yeah, we can't make those mental mistakes. Outside, no excuse this late in the year for our kids to go outside. We just can't go outside. And, you know, they're playing tough, and we can't give them no edge. And that's just disappointing. We're, you know, your 13th game of the season, you're going outside defense. That's bad.
What are you looking for in the second half?
Well, they keep coming. They're going to probably keep that veering, but I think they're going to probably start passing. We just got to get something going on the ground. We're doing a terrible job on the ground. We got to move the ball on the ground. That's all there is. If we're going to win the ball game, we got to move it on the ground.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half. We appreciate it. Matt, back to you.
Jamie, coaches are never satisfied, are they? Bottom line is his Lancers lead at 12-0. Our halftime festivities roll on from the Silverdome on Fox Sports Detroit right after this. After a scoreless first quarter of play, Bishop Gallagher strikes twice in that second quarter of play, and they use the 12 points to take a 12-0 lead into the halftime. Welcome back to the Pontiac Silverdome. Welcome back to the Class Double D State Championships here on Fox Sports Detroit. Matt Shepard along with John Wengler. Pretty solid first half if you're the Lancers. They do not control the clock, but sometimes that's deceiving, isn't it?
Matt, they are very good on third down conversion, almost 60% on third down conversion. They hit the big plays to Marcus Curry. They turned him loose. And, you know, with that defense, they can afford to make some mistakes early, but they bounce back. And, you know, it's going to be tough for Fulton to come back.
Sure didn't look that way early on, folks. If you were following the ball game, the Pirates had a big, long drive, almost 6.5 minutes of play. Unfortunately for the Pirates, they turn it over in the zone.
Always difficult when you run option football. You got to make sure that pitch is right, and that was a big key turning point. They had a tremendous drive, and that stopped the drive.
Lancers had another drive later on. Looked like they had the early touchdown.
That time a holding call brought it back, and you can see the speed of Darnell Hood even on that one that was called back.
But the Gallagher Lancers able to stay composed, and Marcus Curry the threat.
Nice post cut there by Marcus, made a great move, and Slokey laid it in.
One of his 2 touchdowns on the morning.
Well, the out and up cut, that time they bit on the out cut, and Marcus ran by him for a touchdown, and Slokey laid it up nice, let him run underneath it.
Gallagher does a nice job moving the ball and mixing it up. Meanwhile, the Pirates are more focused on the ground attack, and you look at the stats, passing yards jumps right out at you, along with total yards.
Well, they've thrown for over 1,100 yards. The Pirates, they have not been able to get on track passing the football, Matt.
Yeah, what do you think the difference there is? Is it Gallagher's team speed on defense? Is it their aggression? Is it the pressure? What is it?
Well, team speed in the fact that they've been able to make some key plays, knocking the balls down, deflecting passes, and they're going to really have to mix it up the second half to move the ball, because Gallagher's defense, they allow only 8 points a game. That's a serious defense.
Ed Lark needs to make adjustments on his offense and for Marcus Curry. We'll see what he and the Pirates do when we come back. Second half action coming your way from the Dome on Fox Sports Detroit. Next. Always love to see what type of halftime adjustments are made at the high school level. Ed Lark has some to be made. He's now with our own Jamie Samuelson. Jamie.
Well, Coach, things went well for you in the first quarter, obviously, other than the fumble, and kind of turned from there. What did you tell your team at halftime?
Well, we just have to go and try to establish the things that we do best. We have to attack their perimeter a little bit better with the pass, and our offensive line has to continue to control their line, and we've done an okay job of it, but we have to do much better.
You talked before the game about containing their speed. Is the simplest way to do that to hold on to the football offensively?
Yeah, I'd say that's the best way to do it.
All right, well, good luck in the second half. We appreciate it. Matt Shepard, back to you.
Jamie, we'll see if that works in the second half of play. We've got the kickoff when we come back. Remember, the Lancers get first crack at it. Lancers of Bishop Gallagher have proven that they can score by chewing some clock and score quickly. Their scoring drives of 10 plays, 56 yards, used 4.5 minutes. The other scoring drive, a 5-play, 57-yard effort, used just 40 seconds of clock. Slokey to Curry, both of 18 and 45 yards. That's why Bishop Gallagher is up 12-0. Ed Lark's ball club held the advantage as far as time of possession, but if you look at it, they didn't come away with a whole lot. Punting 4 times and fumbling once. Gallagher, in the meantime, made the most of theirs. They started out very sluggishly, turned it over on downs once, but the last 2 times they were able to break into that end zone, and now looking for their 3rd straight series of offensive output that would give them a big lead, especially when you look at a Bishop Gallagher defense that George Sahady is very proud of, because they've only given up, you know, I mean, on their defensive side of the ball, 8.5 points per game.
He's very proud of that, man. He also, part of that is being able to run the football. He has to have his offense be able to run the football and control the clock, because he wants to keep the Pirates off the field as much as he can, because he knows they're a little bigger, and you know, as much as he can keep those guys down, let his offense control the ball, that's going to help.
Marcus Curry has been the man so far. 2 touchdown receptions, a couple of great blocks at the wide receiver position, and he is so dangerous on special teams. Slokey waiting for the chance to put it up again. His Lancers offense averages better than 130 yards through the air, and it's kind of surprising that they've been able to do against Middleton or Fulton Middleton's defense, because the Pirates defense averages just giving up 80 yards per game through the air. So Curry and Clark back deep to receive for Bishop Gallagher. Curry, a running start. Looking for a way. Good coverage by the Pirates.
Curry made a nice catch there, fielding that ball below his waist. That's always real difficult when you take a punt or a kickoff below your waist, but showed some really excellent hands on that.
And the instinct is to take a knee, and of course you don't want to do that. He did a nice job here.
No, he did a real good job squatting to get that ball and keeping his feet.
So 1st and 10, ball resting on the 28-yard line. Again, Bishop Gallagher, with their last 2 offensive possessions, have found the end zone. Tony Collins and Darnell Hood start in the backfield for the Lancers. Inside handoff on the counter to Tony Collins. Nothing going there. Edward telling Jamie Samuelson they got to stop the speed. A guy who has done a nice job at Fulton and done a nice job everywhere he has gone. Took a Wayland club that had just 3 wins in 4 seasons and took him to a 500 respectable level before he came to Fulton. And his Fulton defense is coming up big there on Darnell Hood. Tim Stevenson in on the tackle.
Fulton's got some great penetration these first 2 plays in the second half. You can tell they're really trying to make some adjustments, keep these guys pinned down, force them to throw the football.
Bishop Gallagher now will stare at a 3rd and 11. They have converted their last 4 third-down situations. You know, Lark told us earlier in the week, John, that he was a little concerned about Bishop Gallagher's speed. On paper, he says, we don't have enough speed, but our kids are very competitive. And that's where he's hoping it pays off. Van Etten with a shot, but a great pass by Slokey. He gives it away to Wilkins, who picks up the 1st down and then some.
What a play by Slokey. You talk about a timing route. Slokey comes out, fakes a counter, rolls to the right with a guy in his face, just lets the ball go before he even turns his head. Great play. That's confidence. That's having run that ball and played before. Wilkins made a nice catch.
Van Etten untouched. Slokey stood in there, took the heat, and delivered it.
He'll feel that tomorrow.
He's hoping it's worth it on a 1st and 10. Hood out of the eye. Feeling his way toward the line of scrimmage. Give him 1. Matt Wilson in on the tackle.
It's interesting, they've tried to run Hood up inside here like 3 times starting off the second half, and really he's not had much success inside. Outside in the first half is where he's really been dangerous.
You see Hood averaging better than 3 yards a carry. That is not what he is used to. He averages better than 7.5 during the regular season. Not a whole lot of guys on that Gallagher sideline, but a lot of talent at the skill position. And our first flag of the second half.
Looks like Slokey's doing a nice job with the cadence there, Matt. He's trying to draw him off sides.
Dead ball, approachment, defense.
Looks like it worked there.
Got that hard count going for him.
You can tell with the inflection in his left arm there, he's varying his cadence, and that's the mark of an experienced quarterback. You know, he knows those guys are a little edgy, and he's going to keep them moving and keep them guessing.
See the penalty layout. Both teams flagged a little bit more than they would like to do. 2nd down and short. Slokey on the quarterback sneak. 3rd or 4th time he's done that this afternoon. Not much success that time.
Well, I think Slokey, being the experienced guy that he is, they're giving him a lot of room and latitude to make that call and just adjust when he sees a crease in there of an offset alignment. He's just taking that liberty and taking it inside and pick up a few yards.
He rushed for over 200 yards during the season. That's not bad for a guy who usually puts it up. Now on 3rd and 2. It'll be interesting to see what they do here out of the split backfield. Wilkins, first down. Joe Yeager on the stop. So Gallagher's picking up right where they left off, John.
They're really establishing the run again, and you know, even being smaller, they have a lot of quick hitters. They're using their speed and quickness both from the linemen and the running backs, and again, a big first down to keep that drive going.
6 straight 3rd down conversion for the Lancers.
When you're hitting 60–70% of your 3rd down conversions, you're going to be in a good position in the ball game.
Chewing a lot of clock too. 8:15 left to go in the 3rd, and remember, Gallagher already leads at 12-0. Hood trying to break it outside. Needs that speed, but Yeager closes quickly and drags him down for a 3-yard loss. Darnell Hood will feel that one tomorrow because Yeager made sure that he threw all 210 pounds of him on it.
Well, I tell you, Yeager is really going side and side. That time they completely missed Yeager. He just ran untouched and put a hurting on that freshman.
When the tailback turns the corner, that's when your defense is in trouble. If they can string it along a little bit like Yeager did there, then they've done a good job shutting it down. 2nd down and long. Backside pressure. Slokey tucks it and runs. Boy, if he'd have broken outside, he might have got the first down. Still a gutsy play for the senior quarterback up the middle and a pickup of 9.
Slokey again showing his resourcefulness. That time they had a stunt coming off the corner. Slokey looks up, a guy's in his face, makes him miss, and just picks it right up the middle. And that time Yeager again made the stop, but Slokey using some real quick feet. And that's the mark of a great quarterback, being able to make at least a guy miss back there. He's not the fastest guy, but he can make some guys miss. He's got real good quickness.
Van Etten had a chance to get him for a loss, but Slokey able to elude the would-be tackler, and now on 3rd and short, Wilkins stuffed for a loss. Again, Yeager and Van Etten. We've called Yeager's name more than anybody else. You like him, he's a nice player.
Very good player, very good player. Well, Coach Sahady's going to go for this one.
Does that surprise you at all?
No.
I mean, you know George.
Well, you know what? Looks like they're going to punt it, Matt.
So the string of 3rd down conversions is over. Slokey will angle it toward the sideline. Out of bounds inside the 20. You get it inside the 20, you've done a pretty good job as a punter. Force them 80+ yards, and that's what the defense has got to do now, is stop the Pirate offense in their first try in the 2nd half. Gallagher with 3 first downs on their first possession, but they come up short. They still lead at 12-0. It's Hardcore Football on Fox Sports Detroit. Ronnie Lott, Bill Moss, and Ron Pitts show you the real NFL hardcore X's and O's. Hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Hardcore football for the hardcore fan. It's Hardcore Football Tuesday nights at 8 on Fox Sports Detroit. John, you played against Ronnie Lott, didn't you?
He was on that 79 USC team when Charles White scored the phantom touchdown, Matt.
Beat you guys out in Pasadena.
Scored from the 5.
Although you won the year before, right?
We won the year after.
Year after. Jesse Van Etten with a carry. Dropped down by Graves and Moss from the left side of that defensive line.
Tackled by 63, Scott Cook.
Bill Moss does a good job in that hardcore football. He shows a lot of emotion. I like what he adds. We have guests every once in a while. I've seen John Mackey in there, and John Unitas. Van Etten, the lone setback. Inside fake. And Wetmore will keep it himself. And lunges toward that first down yard marker. Quarterback to quarterback. Slokey, Bishop Gallagher's quarterback and safety, dropped him. But not before Wetmore picked up the first.
Nice play there by Wetmore, just a counter option. He cut it up inside. Bishop Gallagher's in a man-to-man coverage. They're really just daring Fulton to throw that football, and that time Wetmore did a nice job keeping his feet and picking up some good yardage.
7 on 7, boom, big hit by Slokey. And Van Etten looked like he lost the ball. Refs immediately point that he was down. I believe Van Etten recovered anyway.
Looks like he did. He tried that spin at the end, and the ball came loose.
You see that a lot, don't you? Guys fighting for extra yardage.
Just a straight dive up the middle, and he does a spin inside. The ball comes loose, and fortunately, he took a good bounce there on the artificial turf, and he was able to recover.
Yeah, that definitely was a fumble. But the Pirates claim it anyway. Good fake. Hog-tied from behind by Slokey and Hood. But suddenly the Pirates offense is kicking it into gear.
Well, Matt, if it works to the right side of the field, let's come back to the left. Same play, that counter option. Wetmore showing some excellent ball handling. As you can see, he fakes into the fullback. He does a good job and comes back, makes a nice cut to break it out to the outside and pick up some big yardage.
Pick up of 15, and Coach Ed Lark told Jamie Samuelson at the half, he said, we've got to get back to doing what we do best. A lot of play action, a lot of counter trapping and blocking better, and they're doing that here so far in the second half. Justin Gaskill is into the ball game. He gets the carry, rides a couple of Lancer defenders for a pickup of 3. Harry Brown made the initial contact, and Aaron Graves took a ride as well.
Well, that's what the Pirates want to do. In their heart of hearts, they're an option team, a veer option team. They want to be able to rush the football, and they're starting to get back. But they also have some balance, and if they get down, you know, it continues, they're going to have to throw that football.
See what Van Etten and Gaskill need to do, and they carry the load for this Pirates ball club. 121 yards. We thought that was a key today, John. Here's a key, Wetmore's ability to run the football. But the Lancers close strong. 4 guys making contact, led by Harry Brown.
Well, it looks like they're definitely focused on letting Wetmore keep the football and let him beat Bishop Gallagher. Here he comes down the line on a reverse option. He fakes, he's trying to get outside. No one's taking him. They got a great pursuit there by Bishop Gallagher. They got guys coming from the backside bringing him down.
See what the Pirates can do here on a 3rd and 3. They have converted just once in 7 tries so far here today. Bishop Gallagher had a string of 6 straight conversions. Oh, they got it a hard count. You talked about it earlier. A nice job that Slokey has done, and now Wetmore is doing the same.
Okay, Blue, it'll be a first down, right? Blue, first down. Okay.
That's a good way to get a first down.
Dead ball, approachment, defense.
Don't even have to snap it. George Sahady also told Jamie Samuelson on the sidelines how much more disciplined he wants his guys to be. The penalties are killing him. Starts on this first drive in the second half by the Pirates with a penalty to give them a free.
Well, you know, 12th game of the year, those coaches are pulling their hairs out when there's this many penalties.
If it's an aggression penalty, that's one thing. But if it's a mental mistake, that's another. And that's what coaches hate to see. First and 10. Backside blitz. Wide open.
Well,
Lipton Canfield with a big pickup.
I was wondering when they were going to get to that. Bishop Gallagher's come up in a man-to-man pressing defense these last 2 times, just daring them to throw the football. Here it is, just a 3-step drop. Coming off the backside, it's man coverage. The guy's wide open. Wetmore does a nice job hitting that pass with a guy in his face.
First and 10, Fulton.
Wilkins just let Canfield go right by. I don't know if he thought he had backside support.
He had a free safety in the middle that time, but he should have stayed with him.
Wetmore's first completion, a big one of 23. He'll keep it. Spins his way toward the 10. Curry upends him. But not before Wetmore got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard or 2.
They like that counter option. That time Wetmore came down again, and Curry was not fooled. He stayed right up there in the cornerback position. He did not even have to respect the pass.
2nd down and 8 for the Pirates, who are moving the ball for the 2nd time of the day. The last time they were down this close, they fumbled it away. We'll see if they can cash in here. A block to the 5 and inside to the 3-yard line. Pickup of 8.
And that time Wetmore made sure that pitch was on the money.
Good execution.
You like to see him come back to the same play where they messed up that first half. He came down on an open option, came right in option. The defensive tackle made a nice safe pitch. picked up a big play.
He read it right away, too. That's so important in the option. As a quarterback, you have to decide whether you're going to keep it or not, and you need to move it right away. Van Etten bounces his way past the goal line. The Pirates are on the board. Jesse Van Etten's 25th touchdown of the year.
Just a straight drive off tackle there. Just man on man, they gave the ball to Van Etten. He just moved the pile. Using their superior size, they just powered that football in.
Yeah, that offensive line outweighs the Lancers' defensive line by close to 30 pounds. Ryan, Lloyd, and Childers moving them back. The extra point is good. And it's 12-7. Gallagher's 2 missed extra points maybe come back to haunt him a little bit. It's a 5-point game with 1:08 left to go in the third. Jesse Van Etten and the Pirates are finally on the board, and they got the momentum.
You're watching Fox Sports Detroit.
Folks, we have almost used up 11 minutes of the third quarter. Each team has held the ball just once. Each team had 10 plays, but the Pirates did a little bit better job than the Lancers. 82 yards, 452, a 3-yard touchdown run by Van Etten, and it's a 12-7 ball game. Ed Lark's club now maybe with the momentum. We'll see what his defense can do if they can stop the Lancers. A little squiver along the carpet, returnable by Wilkins. Good stick. They're smacking plasters out there, aren't they?
It definitely momentum change. One thing for sure, Matt, they were not going to kick the ball to Marcus Curry.
Watch Matt Wilson's pop here.
Hello.
Those guards get so caught up in the trenches fighting off blocks, and they got a chance to smack a little running back in the wide open field. I believe they take advantage of it. 1st and 10. We'll see what Steve Slokey can do with this Lancers offense, and that has been successful in 2 of its last 3 possessions. Deep hand off to Hood. He's got some room. Oh, he almost squirted through. And the Lancers are into Pirate territory, a pickup of 16.
Great play there by Hood. Nice hole. You can see they cleared him right out. He doesn't need much. They pulled that backside guard, and Hood got up in there and about a step away from breaking the big one. Number 50 there for Bishop Gallagher did a great job. Cedric Louis cleared that hole from Darnell Hood.
If James Natika doesn't grab him and slow him down just a little bit, Hood is gone. Wilkins muscling his way behind Brown and Koch. In the middle of that offensive line, he'll pick up 4. Kelly Ramey in on the tackle.
Tackle made by number 76.
Well, just when you thought the momentum was shifting there, Matt, Bishop Gallagher answers with 2 big plays and he silences that crowd.
Very important for an offensive team to try and gain the momentum back after they watch their defense struggle a little bit, isn't it?
Oh, it's so important, especially when you got a team like Fulton that's bigger, more powerful. You got a crowd that's really into it. Gallagher's done a good job here coming back out and silencing the crowd.
We have played 36 minutes in the Class Double D championship game. 12-7, Bishop Gallagher on top. You don't want to miss the 4th. Come on back on Fox Sports Detroit. Bishop Gallagher's lead is just 5 this week on the locker room. Eli Gibby and Gary Danielson sort out the confusion in the College Football Bowl Championship Series and provide an unusual look at the greatest running backs in University of Michigan history. All that and more when you enter the locker room Sunday at midnight on Fox Sports Detroit. The difference in this ball game right now, John Wengler, is the Pirates' ability to put the clamps on Marcus Curry.
Really, they've only had the ball one time this third quarter, and Marcus has not caught any passes. And he really was the difference in that second quarter. So they've done a good job making halftime adjustments to keep the ball out of Marcus Curry's hand.
Curry with 2 touchdowns in that first half of play to give Bishop Gallagher the early 12-0 lead. This is the 13th play that the Lancers will run in the second half. Darnell Hood, who just came off a 16-yard spurt, muscles his way for about 6. Through 3 quarters, things are a little bit more competitive. Gallagher's rushing yardage has suddenly dipped a little bit to Fulton, but the passing yards heavily in favor of the Lancers.
Well, time of possession is pretty equal right now, and obviously it's a tight ball game, and Bishop Gallagher has to find a way to get the ball to Marcus Curry.
Unusual to see 13-9 first down ratio, and yet really the defenses are still a key in this ball game. We have only had 19 points scored, but the offensive production has been pretty consistent so far from the second quarter on. Clinton Canfield and Joe Yeager stopped Steve Slokey on an end around.
That was a great fake, and Canfield and Yeager did not buy it at all. That's a real good fake. The guy hopped over the line there, and they were not fooled in the least and snuffed that one out.
Got to be very patient as a defensive end. You have to be disciplined. Stay in your lanes. And now that'll force the Lancers to punt. Nick Bishop is back deep to receive Slokey's punt. Gets it away. Line drive.
Great punt.
Oh! By Clark. Bishop, I was surprised he fielded that. I thought he was going to let it bounce.
Showed a lot of courage. I'm not so sure intelligence, but great.
41-yard punt, a line drive. Watch, he could have easily let this go.
We'll give him a lot of credit for holding on to that football and taking a huge hit.
All right, so now that Lancer defense, Ed Lark talking to Nick Bishop, letting him know the next time you might want to think about letting that go, son. Jesse Van Etten, the lone setback. He has the only touchdown run for the Pirates. Swung around, loose ball. Lancers got it. Scott Cope stripped it from Nick Van Etten, or Jesse Van Etten, threw him to the ground, and the ball squirt loose.
That was all Scott Cope. If you can see, Scott Cope took him high and just tackled the football. Slung him to the ground, and then recovered the football. Unbelievable play by the big fella in there.
And he does the right thing. He pounces on it. Doesn't try to pick it up and run.
He knew better.
He just bounced on it. So another break for Gallagher. 2 turnovers in the ball game. Slokey to Curry. Touchdown!
Same exact play as the first half, Matt.
19-yard touchdown strike from Slokey to Curry. Curry's 3rd touchdown catch of the game, and that ties a finals record with Dwayne Love of St. Martin de Porres back in '82, and Brian Waldron of Harrison in 1988.
You got to have a safety in center field there, Matt. Twice now they've come right across the middle. Curry's right across the middle against that touchdown.
2 turnovers by the Pirates. The first one didn't hurt him. This one really hurt him. Slokey got a feint. 2-point conversion. Got it! Clark with a great catch. Boy, he threw a rope in there, Johnny.
Great play. He split that picket fence right there. Let him. Excellent catch by Clark, sliding out of the end zone.
20-7. Bishop Gallagher in charge. The Pirates try to answer a big possession for Fulton when we come back to the Dome. Fox Sports Detroit's coverage of the MHSAA Championships is brought to you by the United Dairy Industry of Michigan, proud sponsor of the MHSAA Sports Nutrition Award, and by MC Sporting Goods. Gear up for the holidays at your store of dreams. Dream for any type of linebacker to be able to recover a fumble, advance it, whatever the case. Koch's fumble, recovery, and then putting Bishop Gallagher's offense in good position to strike again. They get the touchdown pass to Marcus Curry. Curry's 3rd of the ball game. Slokey's 3rd touchdown pass. The 2-point conversion gives him an upper hand. Barnett breaking through and putting the Pirates offense in pretty good shape. And we have an injured Lancer sitting around the 30-yard line. Harry Brown up slowly and jogs to the sideline.
You got to remember, man, most of these guys on Bishop Gallagher's team have played both ways, and very few of them even come off the field. And obviously, in a game of this intensity, that's going to have a factor at some point.
Very important possession now for Matt Wetmore and the Fulton Pirates. They trail 20-7. Man-to-man coverage for the Lancers defensive backfield. Too high for Canfield. Wetmore went into double coverage over there.
Well, Bishop Gallagher's really showing their confidence in their defense. They're coming up and pressing them man-to-man. That time they didn't get a great jam on. Didn't get a real good jam on him, but fortunately the ball was overthrown for Bishop Gallagher.
See Canfield go into where Clark and Curry are. Those are the two quickest guys. On the other side, you have Wilkins and Hood, who are man-to-man on the Pirates wideouts. And Wetmore decided to go to the short side of the field.
Looks like he's automatically at the line, Matt.
Wide receiver screen, a double pass. Yeager, deep downfield. Canfield has his man beat, but the pass, nowhere close. Pirates have had some opportunities, but they've overthrown their receivers.
They really have. It was a great call that time. They had Canfield behind the defense. Yeager showing he can do it all. He steps back and lets it go. Overthrows him by about 5 yards. Good call, just a little too far.
Let me ask you this. Why throw it to a defensive end? Why not throw it to a fast wideout? I mean, Canfield is a big guy, but he does play defensive end on the other side, which means he doesn't have as much speed as maybe some of the other offensive skill position players.
But also, Matt, he got behind the defense. He was wide open, so.
Good point.
I wish he had that one back.
Foul 30 and 10. Timeout for the Pirates. And again, this is the problem they ran into in the first half. They burned all three before the second quarter, and now they had to burn their first one here early in the fourth. 10:02 left to go in the final quarter. Gallagher up by a couple of scores. Big third down conversion for Fulton. It's 3rd and 10. They trail by a couple of scores. And around to Yeager. Looks like he wants to throw it again. Now he's got some room far side. Puts that left shoulder down. Muscles his way for a pickup of about 7. Tony Collins on the stop.
A little razzle-dazzle. They had Canfield going deep again. We'll see Yeager coming out of a slot position. Just a little toss, and he's trying to get to Canfield running down the sideline. He was covered. Gallagher did a good job, and only opportunity was to tuck it and run and take what he could get.
Now 4th and 5, so obviously you go for it here. You trail 20-7 with under 10 minutes left to go in the ball game. We don't need to tell you folks how big this play is. Only setback is Van Eck. They fake to it. The Lancers stop him.
They went back to that counter options and had success with it early in the 3rd quarter. That time Gallagher was not fooled at all.
Koch and Collins on the stop. George Zahady very pleased about how his defense stepped up here.
That time Wetmore had no choice. Again, Koch coming up with a huge play.
Now important for Bishop Gallagher to hold on to the football. They'd like to choose some clock, but more importantly, they can't turn it over.
Very key, man. Don't give him a chance to get the ball back with a lot of time here.
And Fulton has it.
Boy, man, I'll tell you, it should have been piped into you.
John Day, from his defensive tackle position, takes the fumble from Tony Collins.
This was really just a simple handoff. It was just a straight dive play there in the hood. It looked like he put the ball on his hip. It wasn't a real clean handoff, and that's what happens. They're right back in it now.
Actually, Darnell Hood, not Tony Collins. So 2 turnovers by Fulton in the first for Bishop Gallagher. Gaskell into the secondary and tripped up by Clark at the 35. Wow.
There's no quitting these dogs, man.
Pickup of 18, maybe a shift in momentum to a certain extent.
Well, it's a huge momentum shift. That was just like picking up the first down. Now they got the ball back. They got a good opportunity, and they'll probably get it back again if they score.
9.5. The clock continues to run here at the Dome in the Class Double D Championship. Bishop Gallagher leads it 20-7. Wetmore eludes that good balance up. They say his knee touched, and he's hurt. He hurt his elbow. When he was trying to balance up with his left arm, he tried to balance up, and something might have snapped there.
He went down real awkwardly that time.
Growing concern now for Ed Lark and the rest of the Pirates. The offense dictated by this senior. Their backup is Nick Settering, a freshman.
You can see he goes down with that left elbow.
Elbow or wrist. Wow.
Yep.
No give, of course, in this Silverdome turf. And you can't take a snap with one hand. A little difficult.
Well, and as you mentioned, he's really the catalyst and the guts and glue of that offense. He's done a great job running that offense today, and unfortunately, he's down right now.
I mean, you know, and more than just the passing game, you know, you're talking about a guy who has taken just about every snap from center this year and who really perfects this offense, runs the ball very well, good decision making, and you got to be able to do that when you're riding and looking at a defensive tackle and defensive end.
Well, he's really the emotional leader as well, and hopefully we'll be able to see him back if they can tape it up. But right now, they're going to have to bring in the backup. And
well, Nick Setterington's just a freshman. They list at times Yeager as a backup quarterback, and that's, you know, he's a guy who has thrown 3 passes during the season and thrown already 2 today. Now you throw in a kid who is 5'8", 140 pounds, very green, into up against the Bishop Gallagher defense that is rock solid.
What a position for a freshman quarterback. And you can tell a size difference with Etherington right there.
Yeah. Baptism by fire. 2nd down and 8, ball resting on the 34. Big hole for Gaskell. Well, I'm surprised there. You know the freshman's not going to keep it.
Well, let me tell you something, Matt. He read that. Nick Etherington made a tremendous read. He was reading the defensive tackle. He veered to the outside. Etherington gave the ball to the fullback. Watch this. He reads it right there. He breaks it down. Great play by the freshman.
Good enough to give him a 1st down. Setterington under center. Rides the left side. Again, Gaskell. 4-yard gainer. And now look, Westmore will come back into the ball game. Hey, hats off to the freshman. Very composed. Sometimes it's difficult to take the snap.
Well, just getting the ball from center, as you said, that's a big deal. The fans are appreciating Nick Etherington's opportunity right there and giving him a standing ovation.
Timeout, Bishop Gallagher. The Lancers and George Sahady want to talk a little bit about what's gone wrong on this defensive stand. The Pirates are starting to move the ball on them. See what he tells his defensive troops down on the sidelines.
Well, these guys.
He's going to let his defensive coordinator talk to him just a little bit. He's talking about turnovers. He wants to see them tackle the football. That's what the Pirates did. That's how the Pirates got the ball back.
Exactly. And Gallagher, they've shown a lot of fortitude. I tell you, these guys, like we said, they go both ways. They're playing a big team. The Pirates are very physical. They run that veer option. They've taken a pounding, but they've hung in there. They're not showing a lot of signs of wearing down.
Ed Lark, no doubt, hoping that Wetmore is indeed healthy enough with that bad left wrist to take the snaps and that he's not doing it just for personal pride. Later on today, 3 more games coming your way. Hey, at 1 o'clock, don't miss this one. Rockford against Detroit Catholic Central. Fred McLeod, Stanley Edwards standing by. 5 o'clock, we'll crown a Class Double C champ. Double B will wrap up this outstanding weekend of high school football on Fox Sports Detroit at 8.
Keep giving to the fullback that time. Again, 3-yard game.
Van Etten that time carrying the load, +3. That'll bring up a 3rd and 3 situation.
By number 52, Melvin Moss.
Fulton needs to score. Hold to get the ball back again. Van Etten close to the 1st down. Aaron Grays in on the stop.
They've run that fullback veer 4 straight times now, Matt. They are taking no chances about going outside.
Got it. Over 100 yards for Jesse Van 195-pound senior. Wrapping up his Fulton career at the Dome. Hoping he still has something left in him. Wetmore's got him. Following some blockers to the 5. Good lead block by Tom Hill and a pickup of 7.
He'll get out in front of
Wetmore, the ball carrier.
Here you can see Wetmore coming down the line. It's a reverse
Just
option.
shy of the 5-yard
coming down looking
line.
for the outside linebacker.
By number 6,
Good lead block there. Picked up some tough yards inside the 10.
So important for those guards to be able to get out in front. Lead the way. Down and goal from the 5. Gaskell carrying Bishop Gallagher defenders toward the goal line. Give him 2. And it'll be 3rd and goal.
Just a straight dive there, and Gaskell keeping his legs churning and good body leans, moving the piles.
Actually, the Pirates can get a first down inside that 5-yard line. They are close to a first down marker. Boy, would that be a big boost for Ed Lark's ball club. To have a fresh set of downs at the 2. That's where that first down yard marker sits. They will measure for it now. They are inches short. So that'll bring up a 3rd down situation for them. They've got 2 shots at picking up a half a yard.
Well, I got a feeling they're going to continue to pound it inside there with Van Etten and Gaskell. That's been their bread and butter. That's what's really gotten them down here on this drive, and you look for them to continue that.
I'd love to see, though, a belly fake to Van Etten, have him jump over the top and bootleg it out and see if he could find his tight end wide open in the end zone. That might work because Bishop Gallagher is snapping at the bit watching those tailbacks.
Well, and the way they're pressing on defense, they're playing real tight. That would probably work.
Split backfield. Wetmore with a hard count. He's got a first down and a touchdown.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Why not? Good ball game. Pirates now within 7. 20-13. Plenty of time left. Take a look at it again.
Just a straight dive there with Gaskell. Man-on-man blocking. They pushed him out, opened a nice hole, was able to sneak in for that touchdown.
You win that line of scrimmage like the Pirates have done here in the second half, and you're in pretty good shape. Fulton shut out in the first 24 minutes of play. Now have scored twice in the second half, but they still trail by 7. Yeager on for the point after. Great shot by our Fox Sports Detroit camera crew, and it is good. 20-14, 6:47 left to go in regulation.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to, Matt. They got to be able, if Bishop Gallagher wants to be a state champion, they got to control the football and pick up a few first downs. And if the Pirates want to knock them off the throne, they got to come create a turnover and get the ball back.
We talked about Bishop Gallagher's defense all morning, giving up just 8 and change as far as points are concerned. Fulton only gives up 15 per game. They've done something right too.
Well, both offenses are explosive, and you got to give really both defenses are playing hard. There've been some big plays for Bishop Gallagher, but Gallagher's defense has really hung in there against a tough veer option quarterback and offense that can really run and pass and has some good balance.
Ed Lark talked to us earlier in the week saying very satisfied with the way his team has played this year, very satisfied to get here, but of course it all changes, the emotion changes during the course of a game. Of course he would never be disappointed in his ball club even if they lost this game, but the juices start flowing, and now he and his faithful are hoping that the Pirates got a little something left.
I really like Ed Lark's demeanor on the sideline, man. You can watch him. He's really very composed, very calm, and you can tell it's been reflected by his team. They just hung in there. They've not gotten down, they've battled back, and now they're in a position to win the football game.
Got to be careful on the kickoff. Curry and Clark with speed to burn, standing at the 15-yard line. Curry has been the playmaker all day. And a whistle. We'll recap that scoring drive after the kickoff, and once we get things settled from our referee.
Offside. Coachman. Coach. 72. No. Dead ball. Coachman. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty.
Dead ball.
It's kind of a big penalty. They'll push it back 5 yards. And that can make a big difference for guys like Curry and Clark.
It's all about field position, and especially if they can start their drive in good position, that makes a huge difference.
Now Martinez is back too. They've moved Curry up to around the 30. Now they'll change again. Bishop Gallagher playing some tricks. Good kick. Clark backpedals at the 11. Curry couldn't find the seam though, and driven out of bounds near the 30-yard line. Chris Melton on the tackle for Fulton. Big defensive stand now for the Pirates. Even more important for the Lancers to try and choose some clock.
Yeah, this is the way it should come down. Two evenly matched teams. One's got to get some first downs to win this ball game. The other one's got to create a turnover or stop the other football team. This is what it's really all about.
That Fulton scoring drive, their second of the game, 53 yards, 9 plays, used up a little under than 3 minutes of play. Gaskell's 2-yard touchdown plunge. Draws the score 20-14, Bishop Gallagher. Pirates are fired up on that defensive line. Wilkins met immediately by Yeager and Canfield.
Wilkins, the ball carrier, stopped by number 22, Blake Canfield, and number 8, Joe Yeager.
I tell you, I was watching Marcus Curry. He's got single coverage out there by Dan Grubach. I think you got to give him the ball and back him off right here. I don't think you need to be content just running the football.
Curry very dangerous in the first half, but they've yet to go to him in the second half of play. Although he did score the touchdown. He's open across the Martinez with a big pickup, yeah.
Excellent call. Just a bootleg into the sideline. You bring your tight end across the middle. He just rolls into the short side of the field, brings your tight end across the field. No one picks him up. Runs Curry deep to run off the defenders. Excellent play, very well executed.
Great throw, too. Pickup of 19, ball resting at midfield. And suddenly the clock has become more of a factor for Fulton, or as much as that Bishop Gallagher offense anyway. Inside handoff to Collins. Minimal gain, give him 3. We talked about Marcus Curry and what he was able to do in the first half. Relatively quiet in the second half, except for what appears to be right now the game-winning touchdown. Has 3 on the day. And Slokey with those 3 touchdown tosses. Under 5.5 to go now in regulation. Great move by Curry. Pushes his way toward another first down. Must have heard you, John, because George Sahadi is starting to call number 6's plays.
Well, if you're going to go down, you got to go down with your best players, the ball in your best player's hands. That time, Curry just a little stop route. Marcus does a quick stop route. They're in a zone coverage, actually, and you can watch this move on the monitor. Tremendous feet and picked up the huge first down.
Lunged his way toward that 40-yard line, and that's where he had to get if he wanted to move the chains. They will measure.
Working here a little bit. Ooh, first down. First down. First.
He got it. And Walker's watched his defense log a lot of time here so far in the second half, and he's hoping that they can be up for the challenge one more time. Again, you talk about guys playing both ways, and that's what happens.
Gallagher, I'll tell you, being a smaller team, we haven't done this all year against a big team like the Pirates. That really shows a lot.
Yeah, it's the passing game that has really helped the Lancers build this 20-7 lead. And it's something the Pirates aren't used to giving up. Big stick there by Gallagher. And Canfield on Wilkins. Saw the graphic. Gallagher over 140 yards tossing the ball today. This Pirates defense only gives up an average of 80 yards through the air on the season.
Matt, they're going to have to throw this football. They are not running the ball on the Pirate defense right now. Those guys are fired up, and I think that offensive line is getting a little tired, showing a little wear.
They put Curry out far side on an island. Might go to Clark here, too. Clark is a guy that hasn't been used the whole lot. Although he did have the big two-point conversion. If the Pirates were ever to get this ball back, you would have to look to the 2 missed extra points as big plays for Gallagher. Their lead is 6.
None of those things always seem to come back and haunt you, but the Pirates are hoping they're going to be put in that situation.
And the Fulton fumble are in the first half. The Lancers weren't able to capitalize, but Fulton coughed it up inside the 10 early in the ball.
After a great drive.
This drive is good enough for Bishop Gallagher. 3rd and 8. Draw play. Oh, big stick by Gallagher. Boy, he buries that shoulder into Collins. Collins met him head on. Pickup of just 3. Now a big 4th down play.
That time, just a draw play. It looked like it was an automatic at the line that time. Slokey automatic into that draw play, and again, Gallagher all over the field. And he's leaving nothing out there. He's giving it all. He's not going to come off that field second.
No, you're right. He's not going to go home tonight saying, what could I have done more? Clock continues to wind down. Remember this, the Lancers taking as much time as they can. Now they call a timeout. George Sahady with 2. Fulton has 2 timeouts remaining at their disposal as well. What will Sahady do? Will he punt, go for it, or what? Let's listen in.
Okay, you know what we do? Here's what we'll do. Marcus, what side you line up for the punt? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get snapped, we're gonna go, we'll line up for punt, and we're gonna go, you just throw it to Marcus, okay? Sam, you gotta throw it to Marcus, okay? Is he on the left side or right? He's on the right side, right? We're gonna drive him, we're like you're gonna come back. Go to the left, have you go to the left. You sure? You want him on the left side? Where's 89? No, you're I'm 89 on that side. Yeah, you're this side. You're that side? Okay. We need this. Okay.
You like that?
Well, you heard it hit first here, folks.
Well, you know, the thing is, remember this, Slokey is the punter and the quarterback.
Exactly.
So how do you defend that? Because, I mean, he has an opportunity to kick it away, and he's done a nice job punting, but the fake is always there for the Lancers.
It's always an option, and you look for number 6 right now.
On the wide side of the field.
He's got single coverage out there.
Matter of fact, Fulton's not even buying into it. They don't send a guy back at all.
No, they know. Single coverage by Beltnick out there.
Janisi is the one who threw it. Unsuccessful. Beltnick did a good job.
Yeah, he did an excellent job. It was just a little stop route. I would have thought he'd try to get a little bit of movement. They've done such a great job on those post cuts that that was a lot easier to defend than a post cut.
Well, I'll tell you what surprised me. I thought they'd have just gone for the end zone. Rather than just go for a first down, do a quick maybe going up route, and give him a chance to get some air under it. There, if it's picked off, it's 6 the other way.
Yeah, he had no shot to make a play, really.
Gaskell, the lone setback. The Pirates with their most important drive of the season. Whitmore has it. Looking for the sideline. A first down and more.
Great fake. Great ball handling there.
Great block by Trent Meyer, a pickup of 14.
Here's Wetmore coming down the line, fakes into the fullback, he pulls it, everyone converges, he breaks outside, there's no one out there to contain him. The corner gets locked in, he just beats the corner, gets to the sideline for a big first down.
Smart job to get out of bounds too. Don't want to cut it back and just pick up a couple of yards. Save your timeouts, they have 2 at their disposal. Reverse option, he'll keep it again. They'll sniff that sideline again, down it, and out of bounds. Another first down, wow.
Huge play.
26-yard pickups in the last 2 plays. 14, and then this one was 12.
Watch this block on the corner here. Wetmore comes down the line. again, there's nobody to pitch on. He gets down to the cornerback in a huge block there.
2:35 left to go. Wetmore, we talked about the number of yards he's picked up during the season. Today, averaging 4.5. Van Etten carries a couple of tacklers, a couple of yards. Harry Brown made the initial contact.
They're mixing it up well right now, Matt. You got him going inside and outside.
This should not surprise us. If Slokey is to the air from a quarterback position, it is Wetmore to the ground. 600 yards during the regular season. Timeout so crucial if you have the ball down the stretch. Fulton has 2 of their second half 3 allotment. Now they'll throw. Yeager's wide open. He's got it. He will drag a touchdown. What an effort by the big tight end.
Great call. Tremendous call there by Hedlock.
The entire township of Fulton at the Dome and on their feet.
Sounds like 80,000 here.
35 yards from Wetmore to Yeager.
But they've been running that option so successfully. They faked in their line, faked the veer option, he stepped back. Here we go, Yeager looks to the wide side and lost it to Yeager down the sideline, runs right past Marcus Curry.
Watch him carry Curry and Clark into the end zone.
Boy, you got your 2 great players going at it head to head.
Wetmore did a good job of selling it to the far side and then coming back to Yeager, who dragged Curry and Clark 6 yards to pay dirt.
That really made that play, man. When he faked into the line and then looked back to the wide side of the field, Marcus relaxed for a minute and Yeager ran right by him.
Wetmore's 5th touchdown of the season. He's hit Yeager 3 times now. We're tied at 20 with the extra point pending. And this is what we talked about. The 2 missed extra points, critical for Gallagher.
Well, you think
they come back and nibble.
I tell you, you know, it always comes back to haunt you. But, you know, they got 2 minutes left. So there's a lot of time left. And I guess if you would have drawn it up, you probably would have had them score a little later.
They only have 1 timeout, though. George Sahady's offense has done a good job. Their defense falling to Fulton on that series of plays. 4 plays, 65 yards to get the equalizer. 56 seconds is all it took.
Matt, don't think Marcus Curry doesn't know how much time he has left. He knows what happened in that play. He'll be back.
Yeager has converted 2 extra points today. He is 22 of 36 on the season. Fulton's first lead of the ball game comes with 1:55 left. It's 21-20. Great ball game.
Unbelievable. And look at that line. Hugging his players, he's never changed.
George Sahady, calm and cool. Coaches reflect the personality of their team.
No question.
After Yeager converted, he grits his teeth.
Think he's not into it?
Absolutely. Now he will address his defense and ask them to step up one more time.
Well, I got a feeling we're not going to see Marcus Curry receive the kickoff.
It is easy to second guess, but had George Sahady maybe punted the ball into the coffin corner and forced Fulton to go a little bit more, might have made a difference. Who knows, because the Pirates' offense is clicking now.
Well, it could have been about a 60-yard touchdown pass, because if they called the same play, he was running right by him no matter how long it would have been.
And carrying people. Curry and Clark will go back deep to receive Bishop Gallagher's biggest kickoff return of the season. They have been to this point before in the school's history and fallen short in one of the more memorable games in Michigan high school state championship history. They lost in the Class C title game in 1992 in 2 overtimes, 28-21. They have 20 points to their credit today, but they are down by 1, and Clark will grab it at the 20. But pretty good field position for the Lancers.
Decent field position. He got out of bounds. And, hey, this is what's going to come down to right here.
Remember this, Bishop Gallagher, successful throwing the ball. Slokey with over 140 yards on the day, 3 touchdowns, more than 1,400 during the season.
Well, Slokey's a cool customer, too. He's made some big plays, and I think a good quarterback like Slokey, they live for these 2-minute drills.
Neither one of these schools have ever tasted victory in a final game. Dropped for a loss. Van Etten and the defense are rolling now.
Well, he's going to get his guys lined up now. They're getting into their hurry-up offense.
A loss of 5. Again, Bishop Gallagher has just 1 timeout remaining.
They're back in their shotgun.
Curry is near side. They will look to him. They got him. Bye-bye. Somebody's going to get on a horse to catch him. Meyer pushes him out of bounds at the 30. Man, what a weapon.
I'll tell you. Great play.
3rd time they've run that play. 3rd time it's been successful. The other 2 times for touchdowns.
Well, you can see that time out of his shotgun this time. Just a post cut coming across the middle. Marcus gets behind the linebackers in front of the safety, and then he takes it to the sideline, cuts across the grain. Here he comes down. Just a little post cut, really a skinny post cut. The safety there overruns the play. He breaks it across the grain, and fortunately they had tremendous pursuit, or he'd have been nothing but 6.
Plus 41. Fulton uses its last timeout. Still 1:14 left to go in this ball game. Don't go away, folks. We know you're getting locked and ready to roll.
No, you got to block. You hear me? 83C. Sam, where's Sam? Stay home and block, okay? Right.
George Sahady always talks about believing in your teammates, believing that your guys will make the plays they have to play. Bishop Gallagher has done that and more today. This is their biggest drive, and they're moving the ball well. Slokey, top notch on the day. He's only misfired 6 times, 184 yards. More importantly, folks, hasn't turned it over.
Matthew, as you guys heard, they're running like an 84C or whatever that is. I'm sure some type of pass play. But what they're going to do is they're going to keep some extra guys in for match protection because they know that the Pirates are going to be coming after them. Look for Marcus Curry on an out route.
And or maybe a crossing route right off the line of scrimmage. Slokey, a button hook by Clark. Intended pick. With the biggest play in Fulton history, an interception as Gallagher drives. We talked about Slokey not turning it over. Just misfortunate, it went off the hands.
As you can see, he's rolled to the right. He throws Marcus on a little turn-in. It tips off him. Akers with a great diving interception. It was a tough catch for Marcus, but he's made those before, and just unfortunately for the Pirates, the ball tipped up, and Akers comes up with a great interception.
I really thought he was going for Clark on the button hook. Instead, Curry got his hands on it, tipped it up in the air, and Jason Akers able to cradle it in. Wetmore will take a knee, and the Pirates will celebrate early. Bishop Gallagher using its final timeout with 1:01 left to go. After this, Ed Larks will know that his Pirates will have to take a knee just a couple of more times because the Lancers will be unable to stop the clock.
Tough play in that end zone.
I really thought Slokey was moving him down well.
They did a great job. That time they just tried to force it in there. He was under some duress, and it was a tough play, running to his right, trying to sneak it in there, and those things will happen.
It has been a wonderful story for Bishop Gallagher all year long to take a program that many wondered could even field a football team, to get guys who had never played football before into a Lancer uniform, to get them to perform, to fight through one loss during the season, come together and believe in George Sahady and their teammates, and to get to this level after upset wins throughout the playoffs, including the one over defending champion Lawrence, and now they fall 1 point shy against Fulton. The Pirates celebrate their first ever state championship. It is the pinnacle of Ed Lark's coaching career. 10 seasons he's been doing this.
Well, you know, he pulled those guys into an option attack, and Whitmore studied all year long and really converted the offense to what Whitmore could do, and they really adjusted. It took them a while. It took them till the middle of the season to really come together, but they definitely pulled this thing together. Never lost their composure all day long. Even when they were behind by a couple touchdowns, they hung in there, believed in themselves, and now they're going to enjoy the fruits of victory.
From now on, every Fulton team will be measured against the 1998 squad. They've been here in 1990, in 94, 95 as a D team, coming up short. In 96 as a C club, and now in 98. They smell the sweetest taste of victory. Or taste the sweetest victory that they've ever had.
You look at that shot of Whitmore kneeling in the end zone with the football.
Really a remarkable win for Fulton. They trailed 12-0 at the half. Their offense had struggled, but they came alive at the right time. Ed Lark, look at the emotion in his face. So happy for his ball players.
He led them through the storm. He kept them composed, kept them calm. They hung right in there.
Yeah, and I think that was a big key, John. I mean, they could have folded early in this ball game. They never gave up. They continued to stay with what got them here. And they got the job done. The Fulton Pirates win the Class Double D Championship by a score of 21-20. Stick around, our post-game festivities. Jamie Samuelson will have some interviews and the trophy presentation. Fulton's only lead of the ball game at the most important time. They beat the Lancers of Bishop Gallagher for bragging rights in Class Double D 21-20. Welcome back to the Pontiac Silverdome. Tears of joy from Matt Wetmore, the quarterback for the Fulton Pirates. And John Wengler, this is a kid we forget he was injured during this ball game. Sat out a couple of plays. The freshman quarterback came in, did a nice job, and then Wetmore took him the rest of the way.
Well, you know, he's really, like we said, he was a guts and glue, and there's no way he was going to be out of this championship game. He hung in there and came back, and he got them no matter how far down. He kept their composure, and give him credit, give Ed Lark, the coach, credit for really keeping those guys on the right course.
Yeah, they never stop believing. Give credit to George Sahady. His Bishop Gallagher club becomes a runner-up again like they were in 1992, but what he did with this program speaks volumes of the character he has and the character of his football club. They come up a point shy. They still have yet to taste sweet victory in a championship game, but Ed Lark has experienced it for the first time in his 10-year coaching career and the first time in Fulton High School's football program. An amazing turnaround for these two football teams, an amazing season-ending game as well here at the Pontiac Silverdome. The celebration, no doubt, in Fulton will continue throughout the weekend. So many heroes on both sides of the football, on both teams. We talked about Marcus Curry, and we've talked about Matt Wetmore, but what a guy did on both sides of the football for Fulton is now with our own Jamie Samuelson. Jamie?
All right, Joe Yeager, congratulations. Tell me about the game-winning touchdown.
I don't know. I can't put it into words. It's just unbelievable. Down the whole game, and our team just fought back, and we did it. State champs. Underdogs all the way, all season. Here it is, state champs.
Tell me quickly, you score the winning touchdown, the goal or the tying touchdown, then you have to get your emotions in check to kick the PAT. Biggest kick of your life.
Well, I went to Hazlitt game when they played Romulus, and kicker missed too, and then what do you know, he put it in and they win. No pressure. Yeah, right.
Well, congratulations, Joe. A very happy, very emotional Joe Yeager. Matt Shepard, back to you.
Jamie, you are exactly right, because the big touchdown catch was important, but so were his extra points, all 3 of them today. He and his Pirates, tears of joy as they get the job done and pick up the school's first ever state championship. Our next game comes up at 1 o'clock in Class AA as Detroit Catholic Central takes on Rockford. Now, for everybody involved in our Fox Sports Detroit crew, along with John Wangler, I'm Matt Shepard saying so long from the Silverdome. Once again, the final score in Class D. Fulton Middleton 21, Bishop Gallagher 20. You've been watching high school football on Fox Sports Detroit, your home of Fox Sports Net. We'll see you back here in just a little while. Now stay tuned for Fox Sports Rewind. It's next.